The name is Velvet Crow, and you're watching my friend DenoxSeries. Enjoy, or I will devour you.
Hello everyone, this is DenoxKun speaking once again, and I just wanted to make a disclaimer on this video. The video you're about to see shortly was filmed back in 2005. Yes, I was around 17 years old at the time when I actually recorded this. So, don't expect the quality to be top notch and expect a lot of mistakes being made, because I didn't even start YouTube back then. I just started making videos, but I kept it to myself for the most part. The video that I'm gonna be pretty much talking about are these homemade cards that are not C-Tunes, by the way. You have seen the C-Tunes one before like this, but this one, yep, I know that this thing kind of seen better days, but this is a picture of me in my older years as well. And there are other cards like this as well. Yeah, so some of them seen better days. Some of them still looks fine, like this one. This one lost a lot of ink. But yeah, these are cards I made back in the 2000s and stuff. And this plays like a combination of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. And you're gonna find out more in this video as well. I may even remake it in the future, showing how these things are played, but I don't know if I should keep it in the past or remake this game in the future. Let me know in the comment section below after you have watched the whole video. But yeah, these are some of the ones that I made. If I ever make these cards again, they're probably going to be computerized like this one, but it's going to be a lot more advanced. It's going to have more style. It's going to look more professional. That's probably what I would do if I ever get back to it, to be honest. Human Revival, yep. All these cards right here. And I'm gonna show you the binder very shortly as well. So basically, all these cards right here, they played a role in the whole card game as well. I remember back in 12th grade, I had some friends actually play this game too, and some of them did like it as well. And it kind of gives like a different perspective between some of the card game rules in Pokemon, like the HP and stuff, and so many methods of Yu-Gi-Oh as well. So let me show off some of the other cards I have in the binder. Okay, so here's an idea for some of the cards I have here. Just take a look at it real quick. You could pause it if you want, if you want to see what they all are. I don't have time to show them all. But these are all the cards that I made that are not C-Tunes, but they're actually playing cards, where you can actually use them in a battle. And yeah, you get the idea. I made a lot of cards back in the day, I'll tell you. And these cards were a lot of fun to play with, to be honest. Because I had some of my older friends that actually played with me, and they really liked how I made it. Even got to the point when some of my old friends from high school, they made their own cards, their own version, and they made their own decks too. Of course, it doesn't look as good as these, but they did their best, and I really enjoyed their creativity. So there's more. So you could probably see some of these cards show up in that video, because a lot of these cards are made between the years 2000 to 2009 to 10. I think 2010 was the last time I actually made cards. So you get the idea. There is even more. Yeah, this just keeps going, guys. There were even characters, a lot of OCs that I made for myself. So you've found it first here. I'm definitely gonna watermark this video just in case anyone wants to steal my ideas. Because these are characters I never really revealed to the public. Yeah, very interesting, right? Except for like the DenoxSeries and stuff like that. Denox came from this, in case you didn't know. The origin of Denox was from this character right here. That is like some sort of alien holding a sword, trying to be creative with it. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, I must say. Let me just put this back. And then keep going. So there's like, you know, if I ever want to make future cards, there's still more space for me to fit them. So yeah. And here we go. And yep, there's even energy cards. For some reason, oh wow. Let me just show you this real quick. This is literally the future Humanmon that I was going to make. But I never really went through with it because by 2010, I just kind of lost the passion to make cards since I was more passionate with making videos at the time. And if I'm not doing this to make cash and I'm still doing it for fun and not revealing it to people, I feel like it's kind of like a missed opportunity for me. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below, but this was supposed to be the back of the next Humanmon card. So I thought I'd just let you know how it was. That was made in 2009. And I actually cut this Pokemon card so I could trace like smaller size card like Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something. So it's pretty interesting, I would say. I would use a Pokemon card like this to trace out these cards so I make sure they're all the same size. And they're very similar size, each of them. That's how they could all fit in this little binder as well. So if anyone knows, before we start the very old video, I'm gonna be heavily editing it as well and correcting myself. So bear with me, and sorry if I say anything embarrassing there. Even I cringe a little bit of some of the stuff I said in that video, but you know what? Just disclaiming it right now. But yeah, if there is any websites out there that will allow you to create custom cards like that, and then you could have someone make physical cards out of it look very similar to, because I know there's a lot of fake Pokemon cards, fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards out there that are pretty much custom made, and they make it very good, like with today's technology. And oh yeah, just want to show you this. This is my dog Giovanni, my old dog, the one that likes to bite like this. Yeah, I made a card for him as well, so yeah, you get the idea. Crazy time, honestly. I kind of miss making those, but I'm already at the age that if I don't take this to a business aspect, I don't know. I don't have as much fun, but I would like to have fun, but then, you know, if I'm not making money out of it, I'm just like, what's the point of keeping making it if I'm just going to do it for fun? At my age, like, I should be taking advantage of using this for my business. And yeah, that's what may motivate me to actually get back to it. Like, I may remake a lot of these cards that are OCs in the new format that I may do. I don't know if the first card set will be 200 cards, like the revamp of this thing. But whatever I plan to do, let me know in the comment section below a place where I could actually be able to make these cards and be able to make it more realistic. And actually order the cards to come here, so maybe we can actually play some cards with my friends in the modern age. I don't know, let's see. But making this video alone makes me kind of motivated. So yeah, let's get on to the old video. Wish me luck, and hopefully I don't sound too ridiculous and stuff. So just excuse some of the things I did there, because this 2005 I was just starting, so it was a much different time back then. Let's just put it that way. Hello, my name is Hector Vera. And in this videotape, we're gonna be teaching you everything you need to know and everything you want to know about humans. First steps first. As you see in my hand here, this is my king deck. And there's 20 other decks where it came from. But little by little, we're gonna be teaching you each and every one of these steps of how to play human. So for now, I'm gonna teach you the basic of how to learn it. That's all. A human deck can have up to 40 to 45 cards per deck. Here's an example of my deck and all the other cards that's inside my deck. Here you see my most favorite card that you most likely want to put on the top of your deck. But there is a limit to what human and what pulvers they are. But that I'm going to explain to you right now with 100 hit points. Here we explain the name of the human, which is Hector, and the hit points. So if the hit points, little by little, the human will be taking damage. As the hit point keeps decreasing, when it reaches 0 hit points, it's automatically destroyed and is sent to the human stake. That we're gonna explain soon also. Here up there where it says good, there's some human that are good and there's some human that are bad. The bad human, the good humans, and there's also an unknown human that are colored in green. Bad human are colored in red. Just remember that there's some effects that could affect the good human, the bad human, the unknown human. Down here in the middle, you see what type it is, the size it is, and how much it weighs. It's a human boy type you see. Right down here
is 5'5". That's how big it is. 98 pounds. That's how much I weigh. And then these are the attacks that you could use, one of them per turn on one human. If you have like 2 or more human, you could attack one attack with each human each turn. But that will explain soon enough. The token cost, if you're playing by tokens, then you have to pay that much tokens. Usually you start with 10 human tokens. And then the down there is the introduction of the card. Now let's introduce you to even stronger Humanmon. A Humanmon that's 150 hit points. Still, it could be summoned without tribute. Now we're gonna explain you which one could be summoned without tribute and which one has to be summoned by tribute. So here you see a human with a maximum hit point that could be summoned without tribute. 150 hit points or less. Do you see another human with 50 hit points? Can also be summoned without tribute. Remember, it has to be 150 hit points or less, where it says it right here. If it is 160 hit points or more, we move on to the next stage. This is a human with 160 hit points. Here you need to sacrifice one Humanmon on your side of the field in order to summon a human 160 hit points till 300 exactly. And then we move on to the next one where you have to even sacrifice even more tributes. Take this 300 hit point human for instance. When it's 300 hit points to like 500, you have to sacrifice 2 Humanmons on your side of the field. Now take it like if it was YuGiOh or Pokemon put together, because I know some of you have played this before. It's something like that, but you're gonna see more ahead. What's redo? Now, one of the highest hit point human. Take it Rhysody that has 3,000 hit points. Now you see how his effect and everything. Now look at all the humans you have to summon. 1, 2, 3. So in order to summon this really powerful human, it's a tribute of 3 humans to go. So you have to have 3 humans on the field or more in order to summon this type of human. That's all for the summoning things, and now we're gonna get you on with the powers cards. These powers cards are capable of doing. First of all, we're gonna tell you about the different types of powers card. Here, what you see here right now is a normal type powers card that you can activate it anytime you want. Depending on the effect, because there's certain effect of powers card that you have to do some certain special conditions, special effects, special attacks or whatever. You know, there's all kinds of powers card that you must master. So you have to read every one of them little by little if you want to put them in your deck. So this is just a normal powers card which you could use. Example, this is a King Blast that you could destroy all human on your opponent's side of the field. You cannot use it if there's no human on your opponent's side of the field. If there's one or more human on your opponent's side of the field, then you could use it. Now let's move on with another few cards. Now we go on to the quick plays. Now we're showing you the quick plays of Powers Elimination and Falling Statue. These quick plays are almost like trap cards from Yu-Gi-Oh, but remember, like Powers Elimination, there's some effects that could be activated like a normal Powers card. Take example Powers Elimination. It could be activated like a normal Powers card or a quick play. But let's explain more with the quick play. Quick plays are a card that mostly you have to put those human cards face down the field. The next turn or your opponent's next turn, you can activate these 2 cards depending on the special condition. Like for example, if you're gonna activate Falling Statue, it requires that somebody has to attack you. And what it does, you flip it over. When it's face down to face up, you take that 80 damage to the human that's about to attack. That's gonna leave you thinking a lot. But those quick play powers cards, you have to put it face down first, mostly. Cards like Powers Elimination and other cards out there, sometimes you can activate it like normal powers cards, so be a lot of attention when you're reading these cards. Now let's move on to the continuous card. These cards stays on the field until somebody destroys it or it's removed from the field. So for example, once you place it on the field, you cannot take it until you destroy it somehow, or your opponent destroys it. And then depending on the effect continues on and on every single turn. Now let's go on to the next card, Field Powers card. Here we're going to tell you very soon where you have to put the Field Powers card. But first of all, these Field Powers cards also like continuous powers cards. They usually work on both players. There's some that works upon only one of them, so pay mucho attention for that also. There's some field that could raise hit points, have special effects, stuff like that. Most likely in the Field Powers card, you could put up to 2 Field Powers card on the field at once. so be aware of that. For you can only put once because there's a new human field that does that. But we'll explain that más adelante. That these are cards that you could equip it on one human on your side of the field. Any type of human depending on the special condition of that card. Like for example, you see this is card of hit point absorbment. So a human equipped with this card has a special effect with it as well. Some could raise attack power, some could raise hit points, some could raise all kinds of stats, some could have like a extra effect or anything. You know, there's all kinds of equipped powers card like everyone else. So be aware and study all this equipped powers card that could equip on any human. We'll show you every single one of them soon. Now, we'll go to the cards that you have to have in your deck obligatoriamente. Obligated to have. Human Revival, Train Revival, Power Draw. Every single deck must have these 3 cards in a human deck. So if you don't have it, try to buy a starter deck because every single starter deck has to try these 3 cards. One card draws 2 cards from your deck, one that revives human, one that revives a powers card. Every single deck must have it so everyone could play. Remember that if you don't have these 3 cards, I don't think you could play. But sometimes we make exceptions, like if you have a king draw that draws 3 cards, if you have an ultimate revival that's like human revival, or if you have something on like train revival, but I'm not sure if there's a card like that yet. That was playing more later stuff. But just to make sure, these are the 3 powers cards you need to have in your deck. And then every other powers card, we're gonna explain it while we do the field. Where the powers goes to, where the field power goes to, the human, everything else. We're gonna show you that right now. The field human game, I need to show you a few more hidden abilities and everything that a human could have. Then I'll keep showing you some more when we show you the field. First of all, we're gonna be talking about human attack. This one's simple. You see William here? He has a punch attack that takes 20 and a kick attack that takes 30. A human attack is something that you just attack but doesn't have any special effect or anything. All you do is just take damage. Now we move to the next column. You see Queen Matcha that has a human attack ability. Attack ability is something that you take damage and then afterwards or during or ante, a special ability comes as well. It could be discarding 2 top cards from the deck. It could be status problem. That's probably what we're about to explain to you now. Now we go on to human abilities. They're not human attack that takes damage. Perhaps there could be some effect damage doing that too. Because any human abilities that takes damage are treated as effect damage, such as powers cards. That powers card, they're treated as effect damages. Don't forget about that. But mostly abilities are something that are not attacking, but they activate special effects like discarding top card from the deck, drawing cards from your deck, changing to a different type, etc. But you'll see that more adelante. This human you see here, Chowie, has 2 human abilities. One that turns into a flying time, the other one that restores the graveyard of both players completely, so they can have it as good as new. We'll explain the human stick ahorita. Now let's move on to the human effect. This is the last one we're going to explain in this column. Human effect, something you don't have to select to activate. It activates on its own. It could be when a special effect happens, like if you summon a human to the field, when it comes back from the human stick to the field. It could be all kinds of special effect that activates on its own. So that doesn't count like selecting it. You don't have to select it. It selects itself. So if you activate human effect in the turn, you can still activate human ability and attack at the same turn. So don't worry about wasting the human effect because it's not a waste. Okay, let's go on to the status problems now. How the status problem works. Now you see Mika battling against Spittle. Now first of all, we're gonna see who goes first. And we already choose that Spittle goes first. So that Spittle's gonna do, activate Spitball. That takes 20 damage to her. And then afterwards, rest that 20 damage from 110 hit points that she has right up here. Then she's down to 90 hit points. But with the special ability of Spitball, target human is now confused. Just as you see right here. Dun 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 dun. Target human is now confused. Now, when Mika's confused, you have to turn the card upside down. Now you have to hope that Mika gets back to in order. So then it's her turn. In order for her to attack, she must flip a coin. She calls heads or tails. And she calls heads. She solid heads. Then she could attack again. Salió tails. That means she takes 10 damage to herself. Then the opponent sends out a new Humanmon. Now he sends out another King Humanmon. So says Hector. Hector 2. He has the stats problem of burning. Now he activates Fire Punch. Take 30 to Mika. Now as you see here, she has 80 hit points right now. Take 30 more away. Now she has 50 hit points more. And now, since his Fire Punch effect automatically burns this human, first of all, you grab one of these coins here. Which coin? This one. You put it right on top of this human to show that she's burned. Then when it's her turn, she gets burned automatically. Now let's just put her back in attack mode. That she's not confused anymore. Is now facing a human that could put people to sleep instantly. And then they declare her to go first again. So he used Pink Punch, which has a human effect of putting the target human to sleep. Just as you see right here. Rest at 30 from her, she has 80 left. And then when she's sleeping, she put his face down. Oh yeah, when she's sleeping, be alert that human effects are negated. So if there's any human effect, like for example, you could read right here. When this human is destroyed, this human does not count as part of the human's take, but is not removed from play at the same time. Take 80 direct damage to a human from the hand. So let's just see what happens if he sends out a human stronger than her. Now we're gonna see which human here has enough power to destroy her. It will be this card, and he summons this card to the field. Now just be alert. The same goes as Frozen. If somebody freezes this human, it turns the exact same way and horizontally. So that means también human effects are negated. Now let's just see what happens when he uses Clean Claw Homing. She's dead. Now that means human effects negated and nothing really happens. Because as I say before, when a human effect negated, her effect does not activate at all. So freeze and sleep, make sure you keep that strategy in mind so when you put it to sleep, you can use the human effect negation as an advantage. It doesn't even have to affect, it has to affect within the status problem. Just be sure to remember that. One more example, my girlfriend again, facing against a human that could freeze human. Now, they declare him to go first and use Eye Punch on him. And she takes 30 damage again. So she's down to 80 hit points because she recovered her hit points with Max Potion. But first of all, we have to make sure we have to flip a coin in order for her to be frozen. And just imagine that he got heads. What happens? You remember what I explained to you before. Frozen. But just imagine. I take this human out and put another human in. Now you see a human that's an effect that could target human paralyzed instantly. And I'll give you a guess who's fighting again. Mika. Now you see that he goes first again using Shock that takes 10 damage. Since he's the only electric human on the field, he's gonna have to send out one more electric human. Let's just give an example. Another T-ball. Now there's two T-balls. So now for the paralyzing effect to work, target human is now paralyzed unless this is the only electric human on the field. So he's gonna try to paralyze with a 10 damage attack. Right to Mika. Now he takes 10 damage. She's down to 100 hit points. And you know what that means? The same thing you do with freeze and sleep. You put her horizontally. But there's a different effect in this. Human effect could still be activated. But she cannot attack at all until the next turn. That goes for sleeping. That in order for it to attack, you have to flip a coin and get heads in order to wake her up. As for Frozen, can never be released unless somebody uses a fire attack on you in order for her to be unfrozen again. Frozen can only be cured by fire or by a special ability. As for paralyzing, it'll just have to stay like that for until next turn. Let's use some special effect because a special effect that heals status problem and stuff. That's if you ever have it. Now we give one more for poison, because it does the exact same thing as burn. Only there's some effects of poison that takes double the damage each turn. Just to be assured. Attack source is toxic. It does even more damage than burn. It does the same thing but even more damage. And there's no cure for that unless you have a Pulver's card that does it or an effect that does it. Whatever it does. Toxic. Poison one human on your side of the field. Takes 10 damage. Then double it each turn. Since she was poisoned, don't forget to also put this counter on Mika. Now each turn she takes 10 damage. His turn he skip. Take 20 more damage. Take 30 more damage. Take 40 more damage. Take 50 more damage. Mika's destroyed. So that means he kept waiting the turn when he could have used Tremendous Fire. That's almost like an invasion status problem. But don't forget to use these abilities well and read well from what you have learned. Now let's go on with the field now. Now we're going to the field. Now you see the orange spaces right here? Now I'm going to explain every single one of them to you. These orange spaces right here are where the Pulver's card go. You could put them face down for later, or you could activate right now by playing it face up. Up to 5 Pulver's card can be placed on the field one time. Plus a field Pulver's card as well. With another field Pulver's card from your opponent. So it's almost like YuGiOh as well. As well as the human. Up to 5 human can be placed on the field at the same time. But there is an exception, of course. Now let's do an example right here. Now you see a Pulver zone. And let's see what you see. This card, Pulver's elimination. I plan to put it face down in the Pulver zone. Right down here. Now it's ready to be attacked. Now it's ready to be activated next turn. And I summoned this human in my first turn. Oh yeah. Important fact of this. I already summoned a human and put a Pulver's card face down as well. In a human duel, if you have a human 150 hit points or less in your hand, obligated, you have to summon it to the field. You cannot leave it in your hand. You have to summon obligado to the field. So every time you have a human 150 hit points or less in your hand, you have to summon it right away. As soon as your turn starts in the main phase. Or in main phase 2. You could pick one of them. As well as the Pulver's card. You don't have to put Pulver's card face down or from your hand obligado if you don't want to. That you're not obligated to do. But the human as well. But if you don't have a human 150 hit points or less in your hand, you don't have to summon the human because you can't. Now let's do an example right here. We're gonna explain you the protection zone. I'm gonna summon yet another Humanmon. I'm gonna summon this Kamiya to the field. Now you see that there's 2 of my human on the field now. But what? Imagine. Someone takes 100 damage to Kamiya. And when she's destroyed, it sends right here to the human stake. Now remember that the limit of the human stake is up to 10. If you have 10 human to 20 in your graveyard, if you're playing by 10, if you have 10 human in your human stake, right there where I told you, you already lost the game. And your Pulver's cards are already used, like for example, you activate Pulver's elimination. When he activates a Pulver's card you don't want him to activate, that card you put it right here in the Pulver stake. So they put separately as well. And there is a thing for remove from play. They do not count as the human stake. So they do not count if you have 10 as part of the 10 of the human stake that you're about to lose. So remember that if you have 10 human on your human stake, you already lost. That's the goal of the game. To put 10 human on your opponent's human stake. But if he's removed from play, you just send it out of play, face down, to let it know it's removed from play. So that's a human removed from play, doesn't count as part of the stake, cannot bring back by any special effect card. You're able to bring back a human removed from play back to the field. But let's explain another reasonable matter. Imagine the protection zone. Now that we're gonna explain to you now. So we have to put this Kamiya in the human stake in order for the effect to be activated. Oh yeah, don't forget about the deck. That's where your deck goes. Where it says deck of Humanmon. The humans go here when they are destroyed. Use Pulver's cards go here. Pulver's card face down goes here. And the field Pulver's card as well. California Beast, you activate it. And now you see California Beast going here. Now you want to activate Hector's special ability. It says it right here. Repair. If you're playing by human tokens, you have to pay. But usually you don't have to play by human token. That's only if you want to. So if you're not playing by human token, ignore the token cost, because that's just going to get you confused. With repair, Bring back a human in your human stake. One here. So the only one you have here is Camilla. You put it right here. And it says you have to put in the protection zone right here. Protection zone. So the protection zone right here. Up to 3 human can be in the protection zone at the one time. Right now I only have 1 human in the protection zone. Now I'm gonna explain you how it works. Since Camilla is right here in the protection zone, your opponent's human attack must attack the human that's in the protection zone right now before it attacks the human in the human field. So most likely, this is like protecting your human from being destroyed with other humans. But that will explain you in the duels as we speak. So let's explain a few basics of battling. So, what have you learned here so far? We haven't explained you anything yet, so you're not going to be able to know how to play. But from this tape forward, we're going to explain you the full rules and everything that's going to happen in the human battles. Just remember this. Pay attention, and you'll be able to know well without listening it the second time. That's all I have to say. And be sure to pay attention, so you can learn how to play human, so you could be a master duelist like me, the creator of Human, if you ever get to meet me one day. That's all I have to say, and let's go on to the next side, the human battles. But first of all, we're going to show you how these things started. In the basics, first of all, you have to draw 5 cards from your deck. So keep drawing cards and you have 5 cards. Now, in order to decide to go first, there are 3 ways. You could do rock, paper, scissors. You could flip coins and call out the right one. Or you could cut cards, unlike this. Like for example, let's see who cuts. We're gonna do it by cut. A power's card has 0 hit points. It's gonna be something like that. So that means if his opponent has a power's card, he still has a chance. Queen Matcha. So that means Mika starts. Mika starts the turn. She draws a card from her hand and summons it to the field. You know that obligatoriamente she has to summon a human to the field. First she selects Buck. Summon it to the field. And now he's going to be using the attack of Packer Drop. There's no human on your opponent's side of the field. Discard 2 top cards from your opponent's deck. So now, his effect lets the opponent discard 2 cards. Remember, first was a Power's card. Giant Bots on his hole, go to the Power stake. And the other card, Volcano Trap Hole, that also goes to the Power stake. Uchi continue her turn. She's gonna put 1 card face down. And then she ends draw, the creator. And he draw an Ostisis Robotic Knight. Now you remember before. So he selects a human carefully. Select Serenity. And then her human effect. When this human summoned to the field, remove 1 human from play on the field. Since Buck is on the field, remove it from play. What is this human gonna do? Nothing at all. Now he's trying to see if there's something else he wants to do. He can't do that because it's removed from play. He says Shavienda. And then he ends his turn. Now it's time for her to see what she's gonna do next. She's observing. Seems to be summoning Mika right now. And she's gonna activate the effect of Command of Card. Now she has to discard 2 cards from her hand. Now which one will it be? She discards the Lenny and Power's Rival. The Lenny's effect, bring back a Power's from the graveyard when she's sent to Human stake. So her effect lets her bring back Power's Revival again. Pretty smart move, isn't it? Now she draws 2 cards from her deck. Now it seems that she's trying to think of something else to do. but she ends her turn. And he drew a pretty good card. I can't say what it is. Now he's thinking of a few choices, trying to see what he's gonna do. He's gonna summon. Now for a tribute summon, 250, more than 250 hit points. You have to send this human to the human stake in order to summon Ostisis. So right now, both players in the human stake has one human each in their human stake. That means they 9 more to go and they're doomed. So this is their hand so far, and it seems he's not gonna be using them yet. First of all, he's gonna use the human effect that discard 3 top card for his opponent's deck instantly. That means Mika has this card, 3 top cards again. Yobin, that's 2 human in the stake now. Critical hit to the power zone. Sonia goes here. That means Hector's winning by 2. And he seems to be putting this card face down in the field. He draws again. Turning that thing to a hand. Think of what he's gonna do. Activates Power Survival. Now you can bring back a Power card from the Power stake. And the only thing in the Power stake is the critical hit. So he actually brings it back. And now the Power Survival goes to the Power stake itself. Now she puts his card face down. Then, still thinking he's gonna do right now, summons Princess Katie. And then activates Queen Draw. Now she can draw 3 more cards from her deck. Yet another card she has face down. Now what? And she has to send her Queen Draw to the stake. And now she's ready for an attack. But first of all, gonna use Girl Punch, followed by Miracle Punch. But first of all, she's still thinking. But she'll take those 90 damage to him right now. Right here you see 255 hit points, negative 90. Now he has 165 hit points left. After he done all that, seemed to have drawn a good card. But Hector ain't going down without a fight. He activates a Power's card. Oh no! Power's Destruction. This thing destroys all Power's cards he has on the field. So that means every single Power's in the Power Zone are destroyed. Critical hit, Ultimate Blast, and Human Resignation. He didn't thought it was the right time using it. Now he sends the Power's card to the stake. And now it's time for him to summon a human. Hector's ready to bring back 2 cards from the stake. Bringing back Serenity. And a Power's card. Volcano Trapple he brings back. And he's putting it face down on the field. Then that's gonna use, holy smoke, he's gonna use King Blast. And that destroys every one of her human on her side of the field. Goes automatically to the stake. Now she has 5 stakes. So that means if 5 more of her human goes to the stake, she lost. So now King Blast goes all the way to the stake. And now it's time for him to hit his turn, isn't it? Well, not bad, but not good either. Holy shoot, he's summoning Kaylee. But Hector activates a face down card. And now this is what quick plays are for. Volcano Trapple. When a human 100 hit points or less is summoned, regardless of human effect, destroys. So you know what that means? This Kaylee right here also goes to the human stake. Now Hector's doing a number on him. Uh-oh. She's activating Control on Humanmon. And he wants to take control of Yukina. She's really up to something. Now you see here, Yukina is now in her control. Now she's gonna use that human ability of hit to bring back 2 cards from the graveyard. What would it be? It will be... and Queen Draw. That ain't good. I wonder what she's up to this time. And Hector seems to be sweating a lot. And Mika's still thinking of what she's gonna do right now. She has to end her turn. Yukina anymore. I'm so sorry for you. It's time like this that I am about to win. Now let's see. What is he gonna send out? Sends out Chosomo. And he's not gonna activate the face down card yet. Gonna use Chosomo's Thunder Missile to return that Yukina that she has back to my deck. Face down card. Opponent Revival. This thing brings back a human from his opponent's side of the field. Selecting Mika. Oh, Mika. You're gonna help me a lot, I promise you. Summons Mika. Mika's now getting frustrated, the player Mika. But the human Mika is getting real happy. Activating command of cards. So which of the 3 cards is he gonna discard? Well, I would choose Kesley and Serenity. Those 2 go to my graveyard so that I could draw 2 cards. Now this is good. And now I activate Power Draw to draw another 2 cards. This is too good to be true. But too bad I can't summon it yet. So Mika has one more chance of beating her. He has to pass and I end my turn. Can Mika be able to defeat these 3? We'll just have another card. Seems to be okay card. She puts it face down. She's getting desperate. She's summoning Kaylee. And she's activating Queen Draw. Now she could draw 3 more cards with Kaylee on the field. Caramba! A Power Draw he has now. Another 2 cards to draw. This sure is getting messy. But he don't have any other human he could use now. We might as well scare. She wants to scare him by putting this one face down. Organizing all these cards right here. Then Kaylee activates her Power Blast technique that takes 100 damage. And he's gonna use it on Chosomo. Chosomo's destroyed instantly. Now Hector has 3 in the stake. And Mika has 4. So Mika still probably has a shot. Didn't matter what happened in this duel. Because now he's about to finish her off. And you'll see why. This human has an Effecto Tremendo. Now he's gonna summon it to the field. And then he's gonna use his effect to sacrifice him to destroy Mika's entire hand. So here we go. A little bit to the hand. Bye bye Alberto. Bye bye Pearl. Bye bye Veronica. Bye bye little Ashley. Bye bye Hector. Mika. Kenaisha. And this is probably the end. Now let's just see right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. As you see here, these are all of Mika's human that was in the stake. That means the winner goes to Hector's deck. Dun, 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 dun. Now you see this entire duel, this entire dueling arena. This is how the battle ended. This entire duel with a Gurfree. So be sure to stack your deck with all kinds of powerful cards that will be sure to beat any opponents. But there's still plenty of other rules of Humanmon that I still gotta explain you. This is just a practice duel because of the other part that I'm about to show you right now. No more duels for now, but we'll show you something. That's for sure. We're gonna show you what happens if two people get a tie. We're gonna show you people that of evolution and fusion Humanmon that we haven't explained yet, but we're gonna explain it on the way. But don't forget that with human things are never over. That's all I have to say. The evolution and the fusion Humanmon. But first of all, let's go to the evolution because this one's shorter than the fusion. First of all, you see a basic Humanmon named Chalky on the field, right before your eyes. But if you have an evolution of that mismo Humanmon in the same turn, you could also evolve at the same exact turn, like this. You put it on top of the basic Humanmon, and now that Humanmon evolves into Chakra, and most likely is gonna be a lot powerful, a lot stronger than it was before. But most likely, if you don't have the evolution in your hand, you can't evolve it. The only way you could evolve a basic Humanmon into an evolution appropriate is to have that in your hand exactly. Because if you don't, it doesn't matter. There are some effects that you could search your deck for evolution, but that's only a certain card effect. Now we're gonna show you another example of evolution. Now we're gonna send this card to the field as well. Most likely it's a Doko monster that evolves, but watch carefully. He has a human effect that could also make instant evolution. Like, let's just say this is a human that could evolve without having to have in your hand. This one could evolve one turn after you go to the deck. Say, draw a card from your deck. Then next turn, if you still have the drawn card, you can discard to evolve this human from your deck, hand, or graveyard. So after one turn, if you have that card in your hand, the same card you just drew from that effect, you could discard it. And for anywhere you want, you could evolve it. So it doesn't have to necessarily be in the hand for that. It could also be in the in the human stake or the deck. Now, let's just pretend we drew a card, we discarded, and then instantly, we never even had this in our hand, but we evolved it. Bang! We evolved this human to Miro, and you know what that means? A lot more powerful. And it also has a really powerful attack. But you know all kinds of human, even fusion evolution, have human effects, abilities, and attacks that works in all kinds of different ways. Now let's go with the fusion. Here we have 2 or 3, make it 3, fusion material humans. First of all, we're gonna explain which one they are. You see right here, a Hector Cardona, and a Joe Solzano. Now you should know from Power Kids Extreme what they could fuse into. But in Humanmon, there's only one way to fuse them in together in cards. First of all, you have all 3 these humans on the field. After all, use this card, the fusion card. You activate it, and then these 3 humans here are formed together into one. Then no matter what, you could search your deck, hand, or graveyard for a fusion human and put it on top of the rest of the fusion materials. Not like YuGiOh, you could send them to the human stake or the graveyard or whatever. This is different. You just have to put all the fusion material monster on top of each other. Then the fusion human completely, you put it on top of all the other fusion materials. But what happens? There is another trick to fusion humans. Besides the evolution, but there's only one effect of the evolutions. In case they never explain it to you in the cards. Let's just say I use a card called Turn to Super Kid. This card right here. And I'm gonna use it on Hector Cardona. So we take this out, we take the fusion out. Turn to Super Kid allows me to evolve Hector Cardona into Hector Cardona Jr. So now it has a hit point, more attack power. And then that thing has to go to graveyard. But there's now 1 super kid and 2 regular kids. And now if we use right now fusion on a super kid with 2 little kids, 2 normal kids, look what happens. The same thing, you put them all together, the evolution, the fusion, everything. You put it all together. Then you get this card, and it evolves differently. You remember the other one evolves to regular Dr. SCV? But if you have a super kit out of all the super fusion material Human, a super kit number 1 Dr. SCV could be used. So whenever you have a super kit involving a fusion card, you could look for your deck for super kit Dr. SCV, which is a lot more powerful than Dr. SCV regular. So make sure you keep that in mind, because there's all sorts of fusion Humanmons. You know, like Fun plus YuGiOh to YuGiOh, and there's Casey and Gina to Gizzy, and there's Jason and Rico to J-Rico. If you can master all these fusion materials, look at it in the Human guidebook. Make sure you look at it well and see all the fusion material humans that could be fused. That's the only way it's good to put the fusion card in your deck, if you have a fusion material human and the fusion card as well. Now let's go on to something else. Oh yeah, this is also an evolution card. There's some that says they're fusion and evolution card. Evolves from Dr. CB, but it's also a fusion human. So there's quite a few human that are both fusion and evolution. So that means a fusion human evolves into something even more powerful. So make sure you keep those two combos combined with the evolution and the fusion put together, because this is one of them. And there's probably a few more after it, but you have to check on the Human guidebook. Over and out. First of all, you already know that the down card on top of the Human stake is the remove from play section. Always put your cards face down when it's removed from play. That way you know if it's removed from play or graveyard. The Human stake is always face up, as well as the power stake. But what are these three things here? Well, that I'm gonna explain you right now. You know this Human right here? It too has a Human ability. But this one, we're gonna be talking about the Gamble Zone. The Gamble Zone is part of Human, that part of the game that has to activate from its own card. It doesn't activate whenever you want it to do. Like for example, he stats the effect. Both players pick up 3 cards in their respective deck. Put them face down in the Gamble Zone. If a Human goes down, 1 card from that player's Gamble Zone goes to the stake. Now, what this effect is explaining, these 3 cards here are part of the Gamble Zone. A Gamble Zone can only have up to 3 face down cards. They all have to be face down obligado. In order for them to be activated or return or whatever, there's some effects that could change that sometimes. But most likely, if a Human goes down, like for example, if this Human right there is destroyed, then at the same time, 1 card from the stake, from the Gamble Zone, automatically goes to your Human stake. Doesn't matter what condition it is. Maybe it matters about the effects if it involves the Gamble Zone, but other than that, it's still the same. Human effect can still be activated when they're sent to the graveyard. Don't you ever forget that. There's even some Humans that involves the Gamble Zone or sends Human to the Gamble Zone. All depends. But there's not much to explain here. Only that there's up to 3 cards at Gamble Zone. You cannot put more than 3 for people to lose even more faster. Because sending a card there, and with a card going to the stake when they destroy, that means you're also making a combo of sending 2 cards at once to the Human stake. Sometimes it can even be 2 Humans. So make sure if you're having a gamble deck full with all kinds of cards such as Cashrap and Diana Saramika and stuff like that, and Gamble Destruction. Just to make sure you already have what it takes to have a gamble deck. I'm just saying it for the people that has the gamble deck. There's not much to explain here, like I said before, but that's all I have to explain. Over and out. Now I am here speaking. The rest of the rules here, and we should decide that the next thing we're gonna be doing is explaining the sudden death matches. First of all, the sudden death matches, you should all be familiar about that word, because first of all, when both players have 10 or more Human in the graveyards, most likely there's a split rule about that. Because there's someone that almost had a tie. One person has 10 Human in the graveyard, and the other one has 11 Human in the graveyard. It's not a tie at all. The one with 11 Human in the graveyard automatically loses. Even though the other player has 10 Human in the graveyard, but doesn't matter. Wanna know why? Because the other player still has more stakes than the other player. So the one with the let's take como quiera wins the match anyways, even if they have 10 or more. Just remember that episode. So after that, if both players have 10 humans in the graveyard at the exact same time, this is what happened. Both players ends up in a tie. Then all cards in your discard pile and the ones that are removed from play are removed from play completamente. The ones in your hand, most likely the ones in your hand, your field, and the deck, and your hand, goes all back to the deck, and everyone reshuffle their deck. So we're gonna be showing you that too. So most likely, all the time, their decks are not gonna be completing the sudden death matches. It says here, all cards that was in the field when the duel ended goes back to the deck, and both players draw 3 new cards. We're gonna show you an example of that too. Now let's show you an example of what happens in a sudden death match. Now you see 2 uncompleted decks that are ready to duel in a sudden death match. Now this is the first thing they have to do. They must draw 3 cards from their decks, obligatoriamente. Now you see the other player drawing the 3 cards. Now be warned. Since both players draw 3 cards, the sudden death matches immediately begins. Select one human 150 hit points or less and immediately summon it to the field before duel. So now, they each show their cards. Let's see what they have. A power draw. Now this duelist could select rather Barbara or Kesley to the field. And she's gonna stick with Barbara to the field. Bang. Now since she's on the field, it's now time for the other players to choose. Let's see what she has. Super Saiyan AJ Rico, a power draw, and a Mika. She only has 150 hit points or less to summon. So obligatoriamente she has to summon Mika. Dang. Mika to the field and Barbara. And it's heads. So one on the other side goes first. Which one? This side was heads, and that side was tails. And since she got heads, she goes first. And she could attack first with that human. Draw a card. She activates power draw. She draws 2 cards more. And this is not a bad hand. Now, for explanation in this final battle. The human keeps attacking until only 3 Humanmons are in the stake. Just 3, not 10. If 3 humans are in your stake first before the other player, you lose automatically. So it's the stake is much less, and the more possibilities of winning is much higher. And of course, the battles are much shorter in sudden death matches. So once all 3 humans are in the stake, then that means the winner is declared. If both of them have 3, then the battle keeps going on. Like for example, if both players have 3 cards in their human stake at the same time, doing a sudden death match, the battle still goes on until somebody has 1 more stake more than the other player. The one with the most stake always must lose. So in a sudden death match, it keeps going on and on, no matter how many ties. Even both players has 22 cards in the graveyard, they have to still keep playing. So sometimes it could be long, the sudden death matches, and sometimes it could be short, the way you put it. But most likely it's short because just 3 humans, if there's 3 humans on the field, you just use a King Blast, you already won. That's like an instant KO move. So cards like that could still be played. I said, there is some banned cards that I need to explain about. And gentlemen, this is gonna be the next lesson of human battles. Now notice the types. I didn't really notice about it yet, but there are over 30 types of human in this whole thing. And there's most likely a new type going on in the next series as well. But you'll just have to keep watching and see. Probably this year will be. There's fire, ice, electric, water, ground, darkness, animal, grass, teen boy, teen girl, human girl, child boy, child girl, crazy, bully, chubby, Christian, special, flying, virus, gravity, fighting, adult male, female, teacher, adult male, ancient male ancient female, metal, robot, aliens, and Arabians. Now how much you think that is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Material, that's the new one. The material is like a paper or something that is equipped on a human or something. Some kind of material thing that acts like a human. Most likely a material thing is like a postcard, but there's some material thing that has a human too, so you gotta be careful. So for now, there's 33 types of humans. But fíjate, there's some types that has hidden effects that doesn't even explain on the cards. And you gotta read in the human guidebook in order to find out. Well, in every starter deck and booster pack, it tells you. Okay, booster pack, not really. But starter deck, it'll most likely tell you. And you can ask your friends that if they have the human guidebook as well. Now, as we go closer, virus Humanmon, flying Humanmon, and metal. What makes these three different than the others? Because they have a certain effect that's not unlike the others. In the future, there's probably going to be other types with other different effects as well. Like for example, fire attacks can defeat grass attacks, all kinds of fire attacks will be the new rule. Or water attacks could defeat fire, could take double to fire type Humanmon. Who knows? Because they could be adding some new features that you already have, but with new effects and new things to learn about. So always keep the old cards as well, just in case they might be useful in the future. Because some cards, the rules change a lot. So sometimes it's good to have old cards. Now let me explain you about these three type of humans that has different effects. Let's go first with the virus human. Now this virus human right here, as you see in the middle, virus human cannot be offered as a tribute. So if you have a virus human on your side of the field, if you're local to summon a tribute type human, you cannot summon it. Now I'm gonna show you the pictures of each and one of them. Now I'm just gonna explain you from the pictures, not from the cards. Now let's zoom in. This is a virus human. A virus human with 70 hit points. Most likely you could summon it right away. But there are some new virus human that comes out because virus humans are only 2 or 3 years old. And here they tell you about the human effect just in case you get confused. Because as opponent of the virus type, adentro no importa. It has any type of virus human cannot be offered as a tribute, as a sacrifice. You cannot use a Polish card to sacrifice as a tribute, or you cannot use it to summon another human. This human cannot be sacrificed in any condition or card effect. A different type of human. But it has a certain effect that you cannot see. Some people make exception, like for example, a Hector Ritual, when he's a flying type, it already says what type of effects it has exactly of a flying type. If he has it, any type of flying types can have it. I know it's going to be a little bit confusing in the beginning, but once you learn it a little bit more, you'll be able to get used to it. Here he's an animal type of a bird and a flying type. As well as him, if he's a flying type, your opponent has to flip a coin and get heads in order to attack him. If he gets tails, the attack will miss. Because most likely flying could dodge a lot of attacks, just like the chickens. Only they're not flying, but they run away real fast. That's why most of them can dodge an attack. Keep that in mind that all flying types can dodge attacks if it gets tails. And virus human can never be sacrificed. And in case there are some new rules in the future, there will be another human training video. Just for new beginnings and old beginnings as well. Okay, let's go on to the last one for the moment. Here you see a metal type. Metal types has very good defense against physical attacks. As well as this, any metal type human resists 20 damages of any physical attacks like punches, kicks, smush, whatever. Not elemental attack. Elemental attack takes normal damage. And something could take more. They're adding new rules to make weaknesses, but in weaknesses in another one, I'm not sure. Because that will be copying from Pokemon. We could do a little bit hosting with that too. But something different with compared with that, you know. Not just about that junk Pokemon, you know that. Now I already explained all three of the types that has the effect hidden. Because they don't tell you the effect. There's some that does and there's some that doesn't. If they do tell you, then that's exactly the effect you get. Like for example, if it has a human effect of resist 30 damages and it's a metal type, it resisted 20 more. In total, it resists 50. So fíjate. So imagínate, Hector. He's a flying type. He has a human effect that it dodges. And with a flying type move, you know, if he's a flying type, your opponent most likely have to flip 2 coins, but we make an exception for it because that one and the Vigo is just showing you what type of human effect it has inside the types. So they don't really count as human effects. So if they negate human effect, it's still activated como quiera. But as well as Hector's effect and Vigo's effect, most likely they're negated by any card effect. Except for that. But I just want to tell you one thing. Freezing effects negates human effect and the type effects. Now you know most likely about the type effects. Human effect and type effects are much different, but just in case you don't know, go to the Human guidebook to make sure you get all the information. Because in the future releases, they might have new type effects that you're not gonna be understanding for the moment. But since we're gonna do that in the tournament, the game will be a lot more interesting, a lot more tougher, and a lot more challenging. And that's why each year, Human makes the game a lot more challenging, as we're going to the 6th anniversary of Human. The good, the bad, and the unknown. Now this is what I want you to know. You see that thing right here that says good? Well, most likely, take it for instance, Kaylee. She's a good human, right? And there's a bad human as well. Not like Wilpy. He's the bad type human. It explains good, bad, and unknown right in the top of it. And let's look at the unknown. Unknown is a human that's neither bad or good. Or most likely you don't even know if it's bad or good. It's unknown until time being for some humans when they're in. This is the good human, right? The bad human and the unknown human. Now I already told you what each of them are. They're explained right in the top of this bar of the card. They should have say it in all the cards. But unfortunately in the past they never say if they're bad, good, or anything. So here's what these are for. They're for almost nothing. But there's some effects, human effect, powers, or human ability that could involve this, that could affect, like for example, a bad human use an ability to destroy all good human. That means good humans like Kaylee goes out. But there's bad humans and unknown humans, they stay on the field. So most likely you have to read the Human guidebook to see more about the good, the bad, and the unknown. Those are like the human characters, most likely. The unknown human, the bad human, the good human. You know the good and the bad and the unknown. All the human effects, especially for that. Because if you don't, you're gonna get confused in the game. So make sure you read it well. If it says like for a bad human, I could power him up. So you look right up here. If you're confused with why does it say good human, bad human, or no human? Then it says it up here. Then if it's like that, that's like a personality effect. Like I said before, it's a type effect, a human effect, and a personality effect. And there's only 3 personality effects. Type effect, there's like 33. And human effect is infinite. It could be the more at once. So these 3 effects could probably be in different size. Like if it's frozen, personality effects are not affected by that. So anyways, if there was a card that powers up all bad type humans, like a field powers card of some sort, that powers up good human or bad human, if like for instance, this guy was frozen solid with his personality effects, still he gains the hit points. If the human effects, for example, if there was a card like California Beach or whatever that raises all humans hit points by 50, it still raises the hit points by 50. So from the field effect does not affect anything for the human effects. The personality effect is fine. I said freeze can affect the type effects and the human effects. But let's go to another lesson. As you know pretty much enough about that, and if you don't know much about it yet, make sure you look in the Human guidebook for more information about the lesson. And one of the latest feature of Human as well, that just came like less than a year ago. Last Christmas it came. When Hector Kingdom came, there was a new type of abilities. And they're not accounted as effect. But these are attacks that have limits known as power gauges. When they have power gauges, some of their attacks have their limits. So you cannot use it more than 2 or 3 times. Like for example, power gauges are something that, for example, use Honor Kick. You take 50 damages. If there's 2 or more cards in your hand, destroy target human immediately. But uses 5 power gauges. And why it says uses 5 power gauges? You subtract 5 power gauges from the 10 power gauges he has right here. By subtracting 5, what's 10 minus 5? It's 5. And then after he used this attack, he will only have 5 power gauges left. Then when it's his turn again, he uses this again, like for example. He could use it to another human. You still have more than 4 cards in the hand as well. You destroy that other human instantly. But then, 5 minus 5, 0. So, pasó to third turn. Nothing. Now you have 0 power gauges. You can no longer use this attack because when I set up limits, that means once you've run out of all your power gauges, gastarlo, you cannot use attacks that involves with power gauges. Now let me tell you ways you can heal it. For example, these are the 2 cards that can heal power gauges as well. One is Gauge Reload. Brings back 5 of your power gauges to the human that has an attack involving power gauge. If you were to use this card on him, zoom, 5 more power gauges will be added to him. Now he has 5 and he can use this thing at least 1 more time. So he goes again and uses 1 more of that thing. Then he sacrifices because he has no power gauges left to summon this. Now with his effect, you could draw 2 cards easily from your deck just by paying 4 power gauges. But why do they have such good effects? Because they have limits. That's why they have such good effects. Most likely power gauge effects are very good. They're mostly better than regular attacks. But they have limits. But if it's forever, that's like a cheating card, so it has to have a limit. So it could be a fair attack and the game's fair and nobody has to argue. Now, let's just say pasó dos turnos and he used ultimate draw. And now he drew the card that he wanted. But then he can't do another clue card the third turn. Let's just see what he says here. As long as this human's in your side of the field, your opponent can only use the draw phrase once every 2 turns. Now let's see. Pasó 2 turns, and the second turn your opponent couldn't use any draw phrase. But now we're talking about power gauges. Now I activate a Pulver's card. Remove 1 human from your graveyard from play. That's an attack that involves power gauges. To restore full hit points to 1 human that has power gauges. Okay, let's just say, right? You remove 1 human from play. Now, with this guy, you remove from play. And every time it's removed from play, it has to be face down, looking like this, right in the top. And you know you remove from play does not count as part of the human stake. Just like some human effect, it doesn't count like human stake. So you gotta organize it so you don't have to be confused with other opponents. Unlike this that only heals 5, but this one's way better. Because you could lower your stake and recover full power gauges instantly. This is right here. Remove 1 human from your human stake from play that has attack that involves power gauge to restore full points to 1 human on the field that has power gauge. Now what he did is restore this one completely. Power gauges completely. But now after he used these 2 cards, he has no longer no other cards to use to recover power gauges. So now he draws another 2 cards and another one. Then there are humans that recover power gauges themselves, but it takes a while. So let's just summon this guy for example. Nail. This guy is good every beginning of the duel. As soon as he comes out, he's super bravissima. Use the 20 power gauges and you can search your deck for any 2 cards you want and add it to your hand. And this is my hand right now and I'm not really drawing any cards. But you want me to draw cards? Fine. Ba and Ba. I draw 2 cards. A Thinking Jose Arvelo and a Double Deck Paint. It ain't gonna do any good because it won't do it. And he draws another 2 cards. Ba and Ba. And he has another Gauge Reload. And this guy was looking for any cards you want. Let's just see what he has here. He's gonna search for, this is the Robotic 9. Ah! That's explaining well we still have the chance. And all these cards become shuffle again. And don't forget about that. But I'm not gonna shuffle it because I'm just showing you an example. Just put it right here. Let me just explain you this for a second. In Hector's Kingdom, there were also new Power's event cards called event cards as well. Those are a new type of Power's card that with an event card, it's like a gamble game on both players. Like for example, this one. Both players discard randomly from their opponent's hand until someone discards a Power's. Whoever discards a Power's card from his or her opponent first can return 3 human from the human stick to the hand. So whoever wins gets a good prize. Whoever loses, shall brutalmente. So sometimes it's bad and sometimes it's good. The event cards are mostly risky cards, so nobody dares to put in their deck. Only a few people that likes to take risks a lot puts it in their decks. But believe me, there's not lots of people who does that, especially me. So these events cards, there's only a few events cards so far in Humanmon history. But most likely we're not even worried about using it. And they're mostly painted in this line of colors as well. You can see they're all like that. So that means you'll know if it's an event card for sure. Oh yeah, and there's also another rule right here. After you use an event card, they always return back to your deck. It's like a chicken heel, because after you use chicken heel, it also returns back to your deck. This one you use it returns right inside your deck. So you already used it, y nada pasó. Your opponent wins. But then what will happen? Like for instance, I'm gonna win right now. This guy can heal power gauges. So first he attacked cuatro veces. He used this as an extraction. And this as well, so they could lower the attack power. And poco a poco, with every attack Uranero does, gains 5 more power gauges. So once he does it up to 4 times, he could use this cool power once again. Because right here he has 20 power gauges. In every human it says exactly how many power gauges they have. See right here? In different ways, but they say it. So he pays 20 power gauges. 20 minus 20 is 0. So after you use it, you can't use that one again. But this one doesn't cost power gauges, right? No, this one drains power gauges. This one drains it to itself, or you could drain it to other humans, I think. No, it only drains it to itself. How greedy he is. At that time he was a bad human. What do you think? Verdad. So it didn't matter anyways. Well, let's just say every time you use gauge drain, you were able to keep on the field. Impossible they're gonna let him free, because he's one of the biggest threat right now. Okay, now let's put all this away. No, well first, let me finish this guy off. Double deck pain. Time for this, I win the duel. You're ready for this, right? For the most legendary humans that's about to come. The legendary humans of the past, the present, and the future are coming right now. So stick tuned in the human teaching video for these last events, and don't forget, I'm gonna reteach you something after we do that. Legendary, real powerful, and they're banded all tournaments of Humanmon. Now here's some examples of a few legendary Humanmons around here. Now for example, this is the very first legendary as well. This one is not really a legendary, but it's the de-evolvement of the next legendaries. But most likely an Economist and a Menace. And the Economist era like a snake demon, you know, from the past that looked real ugly. And you know something? I really thought that was gonna be the most ugliest, scariest human of all. They said, this is to scare people. But I don't believe it, because all this time, these Anaconda cards were really exagerado de fuerte. Like for example, you remember that in Human before, I used to use all exagerado, and they were allowed in any kind of tournaments, and whoever has it wins instantly. So they all use it. But since like the year 2000 and arriba, we start banning all damages. We ban all that, so we could start doing that. But in 2003 is when it really realistic. All the human cards to be ban all damages as well. Because all damages means infinito KO moves. So these are the first legendary cards of human ever existed. Now let's go to the second. Let's feel Element Moon, Element Ice, Element Fire, Element Wind, Element water, element earth, and element thunder. Now you see the 7 elements of all. Element wind is the element that they all combine themselves as well into one card. And you didn't know each of the elements has exahedamiento powers. But right now, they're like tribute humans, 2 tributes, all of them. All of them really has 300 hit points. But before I did question hit points because in the past there were unknown hit points and they were still giving alls. But once the year 2003 comes, they will put it in 300 hit points. It used to be 3,000 at first, but I decided 300 because it was more fair. Because if it's 3,000, nobody's ever gonna win, I bet. But you could count on that. Now, you wanna see how they combine, right? Now you see all 8 of them as well. See how they combine. I activate the Polar's card. Combine the elements. Dun, 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 dun. Now, I have created a fusion elemental monster. This is not a fusion card, but this is a fusion card that only belongs to the Element Brothers. No one else can have it. Now this is an exahedamiento effect. So still in 2001, 2012, it's still making all damages. I take that back when it said starting 2000, I started not making all damage. That local joke. But starting in 2003 is when they stopped doing that. You see Element Max? He actually has 5,000 hit points right here. And he has an exahedamiento effect, but it's really difficult to summon because he cannot be summoned by fusion, quick evolution, or any card effect. The only way he could be sent out is by combining all 7 elements from your hand and or on the field. The only way. And or on the field? Can only be sent out with all 7 elements in your hand. They're supposed to be and or on the field. But all 7 elements in the hand makes sense too. But it's really difficult. This one has an effect that wins the game instantly, so tremendo efecto que tiene. And it's almost impossible to destroy. But anyway, he could be destroyed by any Polaris card like Ultimate Blast, King Blast, negating destroy, stuff like that. He could, in quick death, he could be destroyed by all those. That's the only bad about him. He doesn't have the effect yet to negate all human effects. Now let's go up to the next YuGiOh. This is definitely banned in tournaments. Look at all the hit points he has, and he really does always have the hit points. 4,800 hit points. And when he's tribute summon, it's treated as a special summon instead by offering 3 human as a tribute to special summon that guy. So it's really hard. But that's also could be sent by quick evolution. And for the hand, but he's the ultimate guy for hand destructor deck. Anyone who got this guy could destroy any cards you want in your opponent's hand by looking at it instantly. But you know, that's not. It used to be good, but it's not so great right now because now there's even better cards. Let's go on to Eugene the 5th. Here you see Eugene the 5th. Because Eugene the 1st, I lost it. Those are banned also in tournaments. Those ones are also treated as special summon when they're summoned to the field by tributes. 980 hit points. Sure, it's less than YuGiOh, but come on. That guy has the effect to destroy, to take 200 and 500 damage to all your opponent's hand if you succeed. To destroy up to 3 humans in your opponent's field by the 100 damage attack. If you destroy up to 3, you could take 200 to 500 damage to him. But it's actually 200 not a month, but 500 exahedam. 200 has to be. Using the third almost has the same effect, but it has an even more powerful attack. And no one can ever defeat it. It has the same hit point, almost the same hit points and stuff. But Eugene the 3rd is like pre-evolved form of Eugene the 5th. And believe me, even I don't even have that card. And I was planning to make one. Okay, I have it. I said I lost it. But I'm sure Gurfrey have one. He'll give one to me. Well, let's go on to the next legendary. Eugene the 5th is like a human. It's part human, part legendary. He was gifted with such power that he decided to make himself a legendary human. Inventing himself, he succeeded. Nobody can ever do that but him. Well, you gotta be careful with that one. Everyone cae mal con él, pero él es brutalmente fuerte. But it's banned in tournaments and banned in brothers. Nuevo Zack, Nuevo Amplio, and Nuevo Random X10. And why they're all that? Nuevo Zack, why? Because each of them has unknown hit points, as you see as yourself. But their human effects power ups 100 hit points depending on which card they have. Like, this one powers up 100 hit points by every card in your hand. This one powers up 100 hit points with every Polish card you have in your discard pile. And this one power up 100 hit points with every card ever played in the field. This one's a lot more excited out. And they have attack like this one combined with Ultimate Blast takes 500 damage to all human on the field. But this one actually destroys all human on the field. I don't know why, but it does double destruction afterwards. You know, it uses this card Ultimate Blast and takes 500 instantly, negating his human effect. It does have the effect. And this one is no mercy attack. Because if he stays on the field, te chavaste brutamente, because every time you send on human 200 hit points or less, he has nothing special, he's destroyed instantly. You're out of luck. All the best human you send will be destroyed. And as for him, 250 damages sin falla. You said have to flip a coin. If heads, you just draw a card. But it's still good because of his damage counter. These three nuevos once faced the great Joker SCV. Y se tardó como 500 episodios para ganar ellos. They're really rare, but in Power Team Extreme, most likely the Anacarakis are going to come as well. So no te confíen. These were from Power Kids Extreme, but Power Team Extreme comes to Anacarakis. Are all colored in the same symbols. Red in the middle, yellow, then blue, and then green. All details we're describing this. So they all fuse together to make one unstoppable force, and they have enough power to destroy the entire galaxy easily. And those guys with the helmets, well, they make them smart. The helmets is most likely a weakness, because they take the helmet off, they come as weak as magic card. Te lo digo ahora mismo. Even a goldfish from the old series could defeat. Meet my next legendary. Zoom out. Now, I activate Quick Evolution to special summon this card to the field. King Class! You have 5 human on the field and they're all destroyed. And he negates all Polish cards as well. Now I activate this card, Dark Wind. You know why he's so good? He has 5,000 hit points. He's a ultimate monster resurrection from Earth. And besides, they're gonna be a legendary human in Night Blazer series soon. You'll just have to wait and see. He activates this, and one of them comes from Asian Time, and the other one came from the game of Rise for Imagination. Tu te atreves a matar a él, tu te chavaste. Because his human effect brutalmente bueno. This one takes 400 damage on the whole human on the field of his heads. So imagínate. It's very hard to get those cards, but they are banned in tournaments, don't you worry about that. In tournaments now they're banned. And so are the next card I'm about to show. Low, medium, and the max. Why these are the last legendaries we ever seen in our lives? Because each of them has efecto brutalmente bueno. Like for example, most of the Anacarakis power, only the Anacarakis card have those eye symbols. And why they have eye symbols? And the symbol of darkness in the sides and red? Because they come from a really powerful eye monster that could probably be the most meanest evil coming in Power Team Extreme. I don't know, but some eye character controls him. He can see all. These three can see all, everything ever existed. So you can't hide anything from these Anacarakis. And why they're so good? Their human effects are bastante bueno. One that returns humans from the stake to the deck completamente. This one makes infinite power gauges. And then with Jonathan Nerd, tu te salvaste brutalmente. You combine with this thing with Jonathan Nerd, you could draw almost your whole deck and you win instantly. Depending what you draw, of course. And this one is good because it takes 200 damage for 150 hit points human. You can just sell it right away. Just to make sure, this one has no attacks. The Vortex card's a lot better of Jason's, but sure, I'm trying to make it fair. This one has a brutalmente effect, even more deadlier than Ostisis the Robotic Knight. And then you can remove opponent's stakes from play too, like the Vortex or whatever. And the Bad Breath as well, that negates almost anything. And you're almost 100% sure you attack 200 damages to anybody you want. And almost no Humanmon can survive a 200 damage attack. At least all the humans that has 150 hit points or less that you can summon right away. But not her. The other one has the effect. Let's see what her effect is. Input, as long as it's Power gauge is infinite. She summoned to the field 3 cards. This one is ultimate shield. She could protect herself or she could use tokens to protect herself or a counter, but then the tokens go to the graveyard as well. So you gotta be careful. This one also negates, but it attacks all humans on the field. Negates human effect and attacks all humans on the field también. Well, I guess only if you get hits, I think. Attacks all human in your opponent's field. But those Anacoricus cards are the newest releases. And most likely in the human tournament of Hector and Mika's Imaginary Adventure, these 3 cards are being used by Mukano. And I gotta get him back because the Anacoricus part could be the most powerful legendary yet. And it could be, just like the Mawibles. Now, we're about to cut this close right now because we're about to end this Hector video, the human teaching video, and out of all that, we just hope you learned a lot of human in less than 2 hours. But if you don't know, check the human guidebook for more information, or do it with a friend, try dueling with somebody if you can. Don't forget, you must summon 150 hit points or less right away. Most likely, I could make a new rule thanks to Jason, that if your bench is full, you don't have to obligatoriamente summon a human if you don't want to. Summon 150 or less. Or most likely, I'll just say, if all 5 humans are on the field, on your side of the field, your bench is full, and you don't have infinite monsters, infinite human, because I'm gonna make that card as well. If you don't have infinite human, wait, you cannot summon another human until one of the other human is dead first.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel and click the bell to keep up to date for new videos like this from me. And also check out the videos you see on the screen here if it interests you. Hope to see you again.